up by 500 naira per one. And we ask them the reason. They say it's because of dollar. Let me just give a specific example. We run the clinic at the technical university for the university. Averagely a month, we procure drugs for the clinic to the tune of 400,000 naira. So when the person went there to pick up the supply, they said we have to pay additional 350,000 to what we used to buy for 400,000 naira because of the new price. So if you take that to surgical care, all the materials you use, you can do the addition. And the truth is, this cost will continue to go up because of these different reasons. Dollar going up every day. I have a brother that's into electronics. Before, he used to sell for people when you work, when you have a good job, that you can pay within 3 months. That if you want to buy a gadget like this, pay the first installment, it will allow you to take it away. Just give him post-dated checks for the remaining 2 months. But since the beginning of the year, he has stopped that. Yeah, he said because it's no longer profitable. Because the supplier keeps giving them new prices every 2 days. So he cannot sustain that. So when you take that to running a hospital, you know that the cost will continue to go up. And what has been the way out? Over the years, government has been trying to run the medical system through budgetary provision of funds, through donor funds. And we know budgetary provision, we cry every day for everything. Government increase the budget for education, for agri, for everything. And government these days have to also make special funds available for disaster management. They call it miscellaneous funds because they don't know what will happen the next day. And that is even increasing. So government funds is facing a lot of competition for virtually everything. You see disasters here and there. Government, we all run to the government. And also donor funds is drying up by the day because it's like every country have their own issues they are facing. So all those money they used to earmark to assist other countries, they are cutting it. So those donor funds are drying up by the day. So it leads us to one thing. Everybody has to look inward. Look inward to help yourself. And that is where health insurance comes in. And that is why health insurance is very important if you really want to survive. And in health insurance, what do we do? In health insurance, what do we do? When we go out to talk to people, we always make them realize something, that when you key into health insurance, you are doing 3 things at the same time. And that is the import of this talk. When you key into health insurance, you are doing 3 things. Number 1, you are helping yourself. Number 2, you are helping your neighbor. That neighbor is not necessarily if you know the person, but you are helping somebody. Then number 3, you are helping the health system. So let me take it one by one. When you key into health insurance, you are helping yourself in the sense that you've given yourself a cap that on my medicals this year, this is the amount I'm going to spend. Because health insurance will give you, cater to everybody on the scheme, regardless of the class you belong to in the society, access to care. At least access to basic care, which we call primary care. If you give you access to it, because once you enroll, you will be issued a card and you pick a hospital. So with that card, you can walk in to have access to basic care, your malaria, basic tests and all that. At least you will know your state of health at any point in time. without paying anything extra except the premium you have paid to register, which is of course for a 12 calendar month. So regardless of your class, for your state today, that access, that premium is 13,500 naira. So once you pay 13,500 naira, you have access to basic care. And for women, including CS, when they are pregnant, including CS. So everybody, so patronizing quacks is out of the way. So if a woman is pregnant, that means you registering with 13,500 naira, you have access to even CS. And why that? It is because once you are on the scheme, it's no longer about you. It is about every other person on the scheme. It is so because once you join the scheme, for example, Oyo State today, they said the population is 8 million. Imagine 8 million people on the scheme. Everybody pays 13,500 naira. You know how much that will be. And not everybody will go through CS. And even if you pay that every year, and even if you are pregnant, you can only be pregnant, you can access CS once in a year. So that means the money will go around. So everybody that requires CS within that 1 year, we have access to it, because all that fund is in a pool. So when you require anything, it is not your pocket that will suffer it. It is the pool that will suffer it. So that is why I said it is no longer about you, but it is about every other person. And secondly, you are helping your brother or your sister, because even using it, somebody else is using it. The help comes in. It doesn't matter if you know the person or not. So, and that is why it is about everybody. Everybody pays the same amount to get the same treatment, and it gives you access. By access, it means, you know, there are some big hospitals that even when you look at the building and everything, you even judge yourself by saying, I cannot afford this place. Even if the hospital is the next door to you, but looking at it, you know you cannot afford it. But once you are on the health insurance scheme, and that hospital is equally on the health insurance scheme, you can have access to such hospital. So that is part of access, that you can have access to any hospital that is on the scheme, regardless of the billing system or the tariff of such hospital. Then thirdly, which is the big one, health insurance helps the health system, because once a hospital is on the insurance scheme, there is a pool of funds coming to that hospital on a monthly basis. For instance, all hospitals on the scheme, for every enrollee that pays 13,500 naira to register, 60% of that premium goes back to the hospital. But we now divide that 60% into 12 on a monthly basis. We pay the hospital such amount. For example, if your hospital is on the scheme and you have about 5,000 people on the scheme that choose to use your hospital, so it means every month you will get 400 naira per patient times the number you have, that you have 4,000. 400 naira times 5,000 will come to your hospital on a monthly basis. Now, that money, that we call it capitation, that money that comes to your hospital, from it you will buy all the consumables you need to treat those enrollees, any one of them that comes in the month. So when they come, you treat them on primary basis. Any treatment you now give to them or you render to them on secondary basis, you raise a separate bill to us at the end of the month. We call that fee for service, because it is for secondary care. So it means for every hospital on the scheme, they get two types of payment. The first one, which is general, based on the number of enrollees you have, that one is basic. You get that fixed, 400 naira per enrollee. You get that? Then the second one is fee for service. That is based on the number of enrollees you treated or you treat on secondary basis. Secondary basis might be you use second line drugs or there's a surgery carried out. You raise a separate bill for that and it will be paid at the end of the month. So you get two types of payment. Now, from experience and from statistics, all enrollees don't exceed between 20 to 25% that comes to the hospital on a monthly basis. So if you have good number of enrollees, only 20% of them comes, the remaining money from the capitation is your own. Nobody, no system will query you on how you use that money. So, and this is where the catch is. This is the money hospitals have been using to turn around the system. I will give you example. Go to the sixth slide. We've seen on the scheme for your state, we have three types of hospital. We have government hospitals, general and state hospitals on the scheme, and we have private hospitals. We also have primary healthcare centers. Now, what we did in the wisdom of the agency, we know that government hospitals, all money they make goes to government account. You pay into government account. And once you pay, even the management of the hospital don't have access to that account. But for health insurance, we mandated them to open a separate account for health insurance so that it is the head of the hospital and the accountant that are signatories to that hospital, to that account, so that they can use the money, not government. Now, some of the government hospitals have used this money wisely. Today, if you go to Adeoyo Maternity Teaching Hospital, at night you will see solar lights everywhere. It is from money they made from OISHA, from health insurance. They used to do all that. And they've renovated and bought new equipment for the maternity ward. It is also money they made from health insurance. If you go to State Hospital Shaki, they just bought and installed a new X-ray machine. It is money from health insurance. In fact, they just had a new X-ray ward with equipment, and they are renovating the dental department now. There's also money from health insurance. If you go to General Hospital today, it's wearing a new look now. It is health insurance that did all of that. And some private hospitals too, June Hospital in Ibadan, just opened a new dental and optometry unit. Money from health insurance. In fact, June Hospital is one of the private hospitals that has the highest number of claims from Oyo State Health Insurance, up to 10,000 enrollees that picked that hospital. So if you multiply 10,000 enrollees by 400 naira, you know how much it's making every month. In fact, cool money. He can just sit down, cross his legs. The money will hit his account first week of every new month without doing anything. If they come, fine. If nobody shows up, nobody will query him for that money. You understand? Now, some private hospitals too, like Gavsol, I know he has benefited a lot from health insurance. Then also for primary health care centers, what the agency did was to pick 2 primary health care centers per local government. And we all know the system is 1 doctor per local government to run primary health care centers. So those that were picked, we look at the enrollee spread and we say, okay, we have to help the system. When patients go to the hospital, most times they want to see a doctor, not a nurse. So the agency employs 17 doctors. We put them in some of these primary health care centers to make the system work, to reduce the pressure on general hospitals. Because when most of the enrollee goes to these PACs, once you see a doctor, you treat them. They don't need to go to a general hospital again. So by so doing, we are also reducing the pressure. It is not government that is paying them. It is your State Health Insurance Agency that is paying those doctors. directly. And also, because we know that government is not employing more staffs, people are retiring and government is not employing. We told most of these general hospitals, from the money you are making from health insurance, you can employ ad hoc staffs to help your system. Because mostly if you wait for government, the answer will not come on time. And people will keep coming to the hospital that no staff. So you can, Adeoyo Maternity Hospital employ 2 doctors paid by health insurance. As in, they are being paid from the money they are making from health insurance. In fact, if you go to Adeoyo, they have a special building for health insurance. They use that building to run health insurance. That building has their own, they have their own ward with 6 nurses, they run shift, 2 doctors, everything paid for from the money they make from health insurance. And you know, all this help to reduce the cost. You know, it will not look like you are having extra money to run the system, to carry out maintenance, buy some equipment to make the system work. And when you have some of these things, it will regenerate itself by reducing pressure. Because we are trying to spread this news. For example, Lautech University just joined the Oyo State Health Insurance. And when we went round the school clinic, a very massive building, they have 11 doctors. 4 of them are surgeons, but no theater. No, you can imagine. 11 doctors, 4 surgeons, a big university with 35,000 students, no theater. So the first thing health insurance is doing for them now is to equip their theater so that they will reduce the pressure on the teaching hospital. The last time, sometime last year, they rushed a student from the university to the teaching hospital. Before they got to the teaching hospital, the student died. And you know, students, they destroy about 10 ambulances in the teaching hospital. But it's not the fault of the teaching hospital. It is BID. But you know, students, they pounce on the teaching hospital. So now the first thing we are doing in collaboration with the university is to equip the theater in the clinic. The money will not come from heaven. It's from the premium they paid. Because what we do at the health insurance is, at times, we will approach the bank that give us a loan to buy this equipment, because we know the money will come, because the premium, once you join, the premium will keep coming. And we structure some of this payment so that we have money to run the system, to buy consumables, because this one, you know, it must be there available, because you don't know when any patient might need it. So we structure the payment in such a way that everybody will benefit. The bank will get their money back and the system will run. So what health insurance does is it gives it provides extra funds to procure consumables, helps expansion and maintenance and improvement of facilities. I've mentioned the hospitals that have used the money wisely and how the agency have done all of this. And also, to the patients, it gives them rest of mind, because you can actually calculate that for my health, this is how much I will spend this year, bearing any unforeseen occurrence. So, and the good thing now is a lot of people are keen into health insurance. It will amuse you to know that 5 out of the honorables that were just sworn in last month in the state have paid for 2,000 lives of members of their constituents. You know, one of them came to our office and said, because we have a system, we call it adoption model, where you can actually buy health insurance for somebody. But if somebody falls sick and you know that the bill will fall on you, why not buy health insurance for that person? It's just 13.5. So one of them woke up to us and said, look, we politicians, we have many wives and children. Because your followers will always come, ìyàwó yín ti bímọ, ó rẹ ọmọ yín. He said last year, he couldn't actually put a figure to how much he spent, you know, helping this, helping that. So this year, is wiser now. That he's just buying health insurance for 500 people. And he knows that those 500, they cannot come to him for any medical bill again. And he just paid for them. And so up to 5 of them have done that. And the speaker is the last one that just came that he is going to pay for 1,000 people from his constituency here. And this is the message the health insurance agency is preaching, that once everybody comes on board, the agency doesn't have a hospital. No health insurance agency has a hospital. Even the national health insurance, they don't have an hospital. We make use of hospitals around, both state and private, government owned and private. So the money will always come back to the hospitals in form of capitation and fee for service to help the system. So at the end of the day, the biggest beneficiary of the health insurance system is you, the doctors that run the hospital. And because whether we like it or not, because of rising costs and everything, the way to go, the answer to give every one of us, regardless of class, our quality and qualitative healthcare services is health insurance. Thank you.
Wow. Very brief and very, very, very simple. Any questions? Any doubts? Or comment or observation?
Thank you very much, sir, for the question. Thank you for the presentation. However, I have a few comments. And one of the things I will appreciate the health insurance system in Nigeria for is it has given people access to medical care. Because talking from this side, we are talking from the other side. I believe in developed countries, the hospitals should benefit more. But I found out that this health insurance has impoverished a lot of hospitals. I once had the privilege of working in a big hospital, and I think that one of the things that has caused this Japa movement among young doctors is health insurance. I will explain why. I was privileged to work in a big hospital. About 90% of their patients were people from health insurance, HMOs and co. And we know that in Nigeria, the level of corruption is endemic. And I know what some of my guys did to ensure that their money come out of, they get their payment. While some hospitals will spend 6 months, 7 months, some will get their own just the following month. We know what they were doing. There was the level of corruption was deep. And while he was always having his way, and one of the things I observed just some years back, we knew the mess that happened between NHIS and HMO. I think 3-4 years ago. If you go to some of the HMOs, I had friends working there. They were always with the big cars, and I told them these big cars should be in the hospital working. The people working is more like monkey they walk, baboon they chop, you know. And I've been in situations where we have to call for code. There was there I called one. He was saying, "How did you know the patient is ill?" I gave it back to him. I said, "My friend, come down from that place. I come and examine the patient." He said, sorry sir. You understand what I'm saying? So you said 400 naira goes to as capitation, sir. What does it cost in your own assessment to treat malaria? I just want you to, how much do you think it costs when you say basic care to treat malaria? 400 naira is not enough. And you also said 20% of our came for treatment. That's not true, sir. We are talking from, it's just like you want to collect a loan in the bank. The set of people that come and advertise the bank, the company to you, are different from the set of people you will meet when you need that loan. We are the ones on ground. 400 naira is not enough. And 20% of it's that statistics is not true. Because I find out that there's a lot of abuse in the health system in this NHS scheme. a lot of people come. I remember that hospital vividly, and that was one of the things that made me go and start my practice. I wasn't enjoying medicine. I wasn't enjoying treating people who were not sick. You will see people come on Saturdays with 2 children, 5 children. He said, cough and catarrh, all of us. I said, how can all of you be sick? This next week you see them come again. You know, if anybody complains, so yeah, go to the hospital. I see the hospital is like an amusement park. Go, go, go. They send there, and these people were not. It was demoralizing for doctors to be treating people you know are not sick. You know, they come to wake you up at night. I said, this I have cough and catarrh. Why didn't you come since morning? This is when I have time. It was an abuse of the system. I've talked about the abuse, and most times you find patients talking to us. These patients cannot be deceived. They will tell you, doctor, leave HMO, leave this health insurance, tell me what to do, I will pay my money. You know, patients know that you cannot eat your cake and have it. You can't pay me 400 naira and expect me to give the best repay. The patients still know this. Is it not this amosi you are giving us? I will go and buy better drugs outside. You cannot.
Wow. I reserve my own comments. Okay.
Thank you, our dear marketing manager. You pardon me for forgetting the name, but I think Stephen is part of the name. Thank you, sir. Whatever you have had this evening is not new. Yeah. I personally was enthusiastic about health insurance. I believe a lot in cooperation. And when the federal came, I was unable to join the QLE. I joined the supplementary list. I'm still on the federal. And I was hoping that by the time the state insurance scheme will take up, that I will have a significant portion. But by the time the state agency came up and they started with, you pay 25,000 for this registration, for that registration, it was looking like other business. That was reservation 1. Reservation 2 was the problem of personnel. If I'm going to enter into a contract